Salmon is one fish that we really enjoy in Ireland, and you can do this recipe with sea trout. You can also do it with some monkfish, and you can actually do it with chicken if you want to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to do little wraps with some Parma ham. We're going to put asparagus in there, but you can use courgette, and then we're going to use this beautiful herb called bronze fennel. So it's a very, very simple recipe. We're going to serve it with some nice Simply Better fresh pappardelle pasta, and I'm going to show you to make a sun-dried tomato pesto. It's as simple as that. So there's a lot of stages you can make ahead. So we'll crack on. We'll get into preparing our salmon. So let's talk about the salmon first of all. So this is organic salmon. It's from Clare Island, so just off Achill, so it is, and it's a very, very good quality product. Again, you can do this with sea trout and monkfish if you want to. So this is what you're looking for here. So it's the organic Irish salmon, and then it has the Blas na HÉireann award there, which is a fantastic producer award. So it is. So it's part of the Simply Better collection. I'm going to warm up the pan, and we're going to wrap these. So I'm just using the prosciutto di Parma. So we're going to use 2 little strips of this, and I'm going to do it on the plate. It's just easier, so it is. Now, it's a little bit fiddly, this. All right, so we're going to get this, and we're just going to just open it out, and then we're going to overlap it, so we are. So we're going to put 2 slices per piece of salmon. So if you arrange the skin and all on, which is lovely, we're going to put 3 asparagus, and what I've done with the asparagus is just simply put it in boiling water for 20 seconds and then into cold water. You call that blanching off. So I'm going to arrange them there towards the end of the salmon, and then a nice little sprig of this. So this is some bronze fennel, really nice in a herbal tea. It really is lovely, or you can use dill, or you can use basil. So what I want you to do is just wrap it as tight as you can, and you can have this done, you know, a couple of hours or even a day ahead, and they're ready to go. Even in a barbecue, they are really, really gorgeous. So that's one done. We're going to do the same for the next one. So you can use Serrano ham, but the Parma ham, I think, it works really, really well with this. So it's totally your call, or you could use some streaky rashers if you wanted to. So just overlap, and this is the Parma ham that I'm using. So that's it there. So it's mature 24 months. And the big crowns, you know it's Parma ham, and then the PGI, Protected Geographical Indication, which means it can only be produced in Parma, which is very important to know where your food comes from, where it's produced. And the same with this salmon too, it's a PGI status. So we're going to put this on top like that. Okay, so there's no bones, I should have said that. It's pin bone, we call this a darna salmon. You can use courgettes, you can use some sprouting broccoli, whatever vegetables you like or you prefer, but asparagus is in season. You can use lots of different herbs. For example, dill works really well with this recipe. So just showing you again one more time. Wrap it as tight as you can, roll it like that, and then if you want to get ahead of yourself, you can just have them on a plate like this, cover them in cling film, and then all you do is put them into the fridge, but take them out. Never cook anything straight from the fridge because it firms it up. You want it to relax. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands. After touching raw fish or raw meat, always wash your hands. So in some nice soapy water, okay? Now, we're going to heat our pan, and I'm going to use for this some rapeseed oil. So why rapeseed oil? Because you get a really nice high smoke temperature. So this is an Irish produced oil. It's from Derry Carma, they're in County Louth, and it's a really, really lovely oil, so it is. You get a nice high smoke point. So I'm not going to season the salmon, I'm going to cook what we call presentation side. So if we look where the asparagus are, turn it over, and see these salmon on a barbecue, they are delicious. Good hot pan, flip them over, this one too. And I'm just going to let that cook there for a few minutes. It doesn't take long because it's not a huge thick piece of salmon. I will put some butter, but you want to seal it in. You want to get that lovely Parma ham nice and crispy. That's exactly what you want for this recipe. The salmon super succulent and moist and soft, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now I am going to serve this with some pasta. So this is some of the fresh egg pappardelle pasta, and it cooks really, really quickly. It's made in Puglia, and it's made with free-range Italian eggs. So when you're cooking pasta, big pot of water, some sea salt, and then I'm going to put a handful of this. I'm only just going to serve one portion up, even though I'm cooking for 2. So I'm going to put a nice handful of that pasta. So that's quite a wide pasta. I'll just show it to you there. pappardelle pasta, really, really nice. So you can use some of the spaghetti or you can use some of the fusilli, whichever. The dried pasta will take a little bit longer to cook than the fresh pasta. Okay, back onto our salmon. We're going to put one little piece of butter. You know me and the butter. Shake the pan. You're going to get this, and a good non-stick pan is really, really crucial if you can. So if you're doing this on a barbecue, brush the salmon with a little bit of rapeseed oil and then it goes onto your barbecue. This is perfect, or you can grill it. So what I'm looking for, if you can see that there, that beautiful crispness. So I'm going to flip it over. Same at this, and we're going to reduce this. Now if the salmon is very thick and big, this will need to go into the oven, but this here is nice and thin, it won't take long. We're going to seal it off, and I've turned down the heat. So it's not on a full heat, that's really important. Start it off high, and then bring it down low. So just for our pasta, we're just cooking that up. And then while that's on cook, because I need to flip it over the other side, I want to get it nice and crispy all over. And like if I make this with trout or even salmon, it's nice to have it slightly pink and moist in the center, but it's totally your call. So it doesn't take long, and I'll show you how you test when it's cooked. So we're going to make some sun-dried tomato pesto. I'm going to talk to you about the two. These are what we call semi-sun-dried tomatoes, which are lovely. They're really, really nice. But if you want the real intense flavour, these are the ones to go for. So these are left to dry in the sun for 3 days. There's extra virgin olive oil in that. There is some white wine vinegar, some oregano and capers in the little jar there. And they're part of the Simply Better collection. You can see the difference probably when I have them beside there. So the intensity of this is just fantastic. So I'm going to put some of this into our little NutriBullet. Just keeping an eye on the actual salmon, okay? Because we don't want it to burn. Flip it over. All right, and now I'm going to move it to a smaller ring. Maybe this one here would be perfect, because we don't want to overcook it or dry it out at the same time. My pasta I'm going to turn on low. I just want to move on and just crack on with this. So we're going to put in a couple of these sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm going to use that lovely oil that's in there. See the colour of that? So that's going all into the NutriBullet. You can do it in a food processor. You can do it with a stick blender. It doesn't really matter. But the flavour of these is just fantastic. Now, this is the harissa spice. Really nice over roast chicken. Really, really lovely if you want to serve it, over pork chops or even fish. So I'm just going to open that. Okay, and I'm going to put literally a tiny little pinch of this, and then I need to flip over the salmon. So look, all I'm putting in. That's all I'm putting in there, because it's a bit of a kick to that. You can use smoked paprika, which works really well in this. So we're going to blend this. I'm going to use more olive oil. Here we go. All right, so that's going to go in there, and I'm going to put in some tomato puree, and I'm also going to put in some basil. So a spoonful of the tomato puree. Okay, let's have another look at this salmon. These are cooking up beautiful. Look how golden brown and crispy that is. I'm delighted with that. Okay, and you can remove the skin if you want to. I don't. I'm going to turn off the pasta because I don't want it to overcook. I'll strain it in a moment. I just want to grab some basil. Some lovely fresh basil is going to go in here, and some sea salt. So a pinch of sea salt, black pepper. So this is our pesto that we're making here, using the Simply Better sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, maybe a little bit more oil. You can put in some rocket if you want. I will put in some rocket into this. We're going to put a little squeeze of lemon juice. So just a small amount of lemon juice goes in here. And then over the fish, just a little squeeze of lemon juice. Lovely. Hear that sizzle. So we have the oil and the butter in there. So it's cooking up nicely. It's not going to take long. It's going to be a little bit noisy now when I do this. So using your NutriBullet, let that do the work. Let's have a little look. So it really depends on the thickness you like it. Do you like it very thick? I want a little bit of texture. I'll just show it to you here. Like this will keep here, so it will in your fridge happily for up to 3 to 4 weeks in a Kindler jar, something like that. If you want more colour, you put in more tomato puree, as you wish. Okay, let's strain our pasta. So you want to cook the pasta until it's just nice and al dente. so it means it's just kind of firm to the bite. I'm going to put a little bit of the pesto here. I'm just going to literally just toss the pasta, and I'll just show it to you exactly. I'm going to use the tongs, so I'm just going to mix that just with the sun-dried tomato pesto, maybe a little bit more in there. I like this. This is lovely in bread too. So if you're making the likes of soda bread, you can put a few spoonfuls of that in there. Gorgeous. Okay, let's have a look at our salmon. I'm sure it's done now. So how do we know when it's done? Obviously the two little ends, because they're the thinner part, they're going to cook fast, but you press the center. If you just watch there now, when it's a little bit firm, that it's cooked. So if you like it slightly pink, it'll be nice and soft and kind of spongy. So I'm going to serve this up. I'm going to get my pasta, and we're just going to arrange this just on the plate. Okay, so just be very rustic with this. You can serve this with nice little baby boiled potatoes. You can serve it with some rice, some mashed potato. You can make up a risotto, you know, as you want. Some lovely rocket, and this is some wild rocket from our garden. This is so beautiful. I love this, so I do. So all I'm going to do is just literally arrange this just over to the side. I'm going to drizzle a tiny little bit of this dressing, and then we're going to put on one portion of the salmon. And it's a really simple, quick recipe, this. And then just drizzle a little bit more of this just over, just kind of smear it over. Just rub it with the back of the spoon. So you're kind of getting two recipes for this. You're getting your pesto, you're getting your lovely wraps. And if you're doing this in the barbecue, you'd brush this lovely pesto on top. But there you have it. That is my salmon and asparagus wraps with the fresh pasta, wild rocket, and that beautiful kind of punchy, slightly spicy sun-dried tomato pesto. So I hope you try this. Again, you can use sea trout, you can use some monkfish, but I think with salmon it works really, really well. And I'm using asparagus, which is in season, but you could use sprout and broccoli, courgettes. But enjoy this, and happy cooking, everyone. Okay, thanks a million.